All hands on deck. Module 9, Safety at Work. The goal of this unit is to give the student the basic skills and knowledge on how to perform their work in shipwright in a safe and helpful manner. It is essential that the student acquire basic knowledge about safety, understand the use of collective and individual protective equipment, and know how to work safely in the hull, inside the boat, or in a boatyard. In safety, it is important to act before something happens and to minimize accidents and injuries at work. For that, it is essential to adopt appropriate measures to eliminate or at least reduce the risks detected. Workers who are doing different tasks in vessels are exposed to numerous risks. Exposure to extreme temperatures, people falling on the same or different levels, falling or collapsing boats, fire, projection of fragments or particles, and hazardous chemical substances. That is why workers have to cooperate and follow all the given instructions and procedures, including the proper care and use of protective clothing and equipment. It is important to take into account that an accident at work is always preventable. Thinking that an accident has happened without a cause is totally wrong, because accidents are the consequence and effect of a previous anomalous situation. It is clear then that it is beneficial to invest in prevention measures in shipwright, for example, by buying personal protective equipment or installing collective measures. Applying appropriate control measures to your highest risks should reduce the probability of occurrence and severity of consequences. These priorities could be followed. Elimination. Try to eliminate it completely. If the risk is removed, then the rest of the things are no longer needed. Substitution means replacing the hazard by one that represents a lower risk. Engineering controls. Engineering controls are physical means that limit the hazard. These include structural changes to the work environment or work processes. Priority should be given to measures which protect collectively over individual measures. Some examples of collective measures are handrails, walkways and step ladders, scaffolding, ventilation, physical barrier machines, workplace signs, order and cleanliness. Administrative controls. They reduce or eliminate the exposure to a hazard following some procedures or instructions. Personal protective equipment or PPE. They are always essential to reduce exposure to hazards when controls are not feasible or effective. In shipwright, some of that personal protective equipment are eye and face protection, hand and foot protection, head protection, hearing protection, individual respiratory protective equipment, independent lifelines or suitable anchorage. In some boatyards, there is a shipwright area with a variety of machines to work with wood. There are different ones, similar to those that can be found in a furniture factory, and every preventive measure for each machine should be respected. The most common ones are circular saw, sliding table saw, planer, band saw, meter saw, thickness machine, and routing machine or shaper. The watertight body of a ship or a boat is called hull. Working on the hull, usually, it is necessary to initially work on assembling pieces, a task that should not be carried out in passageways. If you are working on the hull, the peculiarities about risks and safety conditions of both the workplace and the tasks to be performed have to be taken into account. If you are working inside the boat, it is important to consider the way to access the vessel. Adequate and safe means of access and egress should be provided for all workplaces during all shipbuilding and ship repair operations. Those means of access should always be maintained in a safe condition. A shipyard is a facility for building, maintaining and repairing ships and boats, which can vary in size, from personal sailing boats to large container ships. In general, the ship is built from the ground up in the shipyard, creating the hull and configuring the interior of the ship to comply with the specifications set before launching it and fitting the ship out. The diversity of tasks that can be done in a shipyard means also a wide range of risks that can occur. One crucial moment is the lifting out operation. When a vessel is entering or leaving a dock, only the persons required for the docking or undocking operations should be on board. A travel lift is a specialized type of crane used for lifting boats out of the water and transporting them around the shipyard. The risks associated with this operation must be considered. One of the most important risks that workers can face is the exposition to harmful or toxic substances. Because when working with ships, it is necessary to manipulate and use materials that sometimes can be dangerous for the organism. To avoid any possible risk, it is compulsory to take all the necessary measures to eliminate or control exposure to hazardous substances. It is also essential for workers to make proper use of all protective equipment throughout the time that they are exposed to these potentially toxic substances.